Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel. And this is your tip of the week, and I have all kinds of tips for you. Now, many of you have hand issues like I do. You've either lost the use of a hand for a variety of reasons, from strokes to brain injury, neuropathy, arthritis, and all the way down the line. So I'm going to show you how I do things in kind of a quirky way, but I get it done. My right hand does not close. My thumb works a little bit. So if I want to thread a needle, I have a little bit of a problem because I can't hold the needle and get the thread in. So usually when I'm going to go thread a needle, I insert it into a pin cushion, then place it in my right hand, because this is as far as it'll close. And it fits in there pretty good. And then I insert the thread in. Well, there are needle threaders out there, and there's all kinds of them. So if you have a problem threading your needles, you can purchase these. Now this one, I've never been able to get it to work. I bought this one from Dritz. I don't know if it works because I haven't tried it yet, but someone told me that Clover makes a really good one. So if you need assistance in getting your needles threaded, then look into using something like this. Another problem I have is, once I get the needle threaded, how do I get a knot at the end of the thread? So let me show you how I do that. So I've already got my needle threaded, and here's the ends of the needle. Now there's many fancy ways of putting a knot at the bottom, but it requires two hands. So I'm going to show you the way I do it. So I pick up the thread, and here is a weight. I put it on top and use my hand to press down so that it doesn't go all over the table, because you need to apply pressure when you're doing this. So apply a lot of pressure. I moisten these two fingers with my tongue. I know it's kind of tacky, but you do what you got to do to get things done. So I get my hands wet, my fingers I mean, and I kind of twist a little bit, wrap it around the end of my finger, and then hold on to it, roll my fingers, and then once I think I've got it done, and I don't yet, so this is real time. So you can see it's not an easy process when you have hand issues. So I'm going to try it again. Roll the thread so it mixes up together. Then take my other finger and pull on it, and then I have a knot. Not the most perfect knot, but it's a knot and it works. I've studied all kinds of ways of ripping thread out. Everybody has their own way of doing it, but you still need to have a hand putting pressure on the fabric while you rip out your stitches. Also, my eyes aren't all that great. As I've gotten older, I've gotten weaker, and my glasses get stronger. But I have a tiny little scar on one eye because I had a hole in there at one time, so I had to have surgery to fix it. So whenever I try to do little tiny chores like this, it's real hard for me to see. So on a lot of your projects, they ask your stitch length to be 2.0 or 2.5. It's really hard for me to, even with my glasses, to find those little stitches because of that little tiny scar. So you could lengthen it to 3, which is what I've done. But I still need to press down on my hand, and I put a lot of pressure with my thumb. And that's where, so I go along maybe every 5 stitches and do this. And sometimes it's still hard for me to see. So you can buy them like this with this little magnifying glass on it. And so I'm going to turn it just a little bit. You want to turn the magnifying glass. Hold on a second. Let me do it this way. I want to show you what I really go through. So I don't want you to think this is always easy, because it's not. I don't usually show it on camera because I don't want you to think I don't know what I'm doing, because sometimes I think it comes across that way. So that's why I do a lot of this off camera. But this is real. So I'm going to take this and I can look right down on the top and I can see the stitch really clear. Now I still need to use my hand a little bit to put pressure on the fabric so that I can get those stitches. So I just keep going down every 5 stitches or so. And then you can just pull it apart, and hold on a second, and it opens up. I used to do a lot of hand stitching, and it's really hard for me now. I kind of don't like to do hand stitching. But when I used to do hand stitching, I had these little leather pieces that went over your fingers, because it was always my this finger here and my thumb that would just get destroyed with holding on to the needle. And so you could use this, and you can push the needle, pull the needle out, and it protects your fingers because it's made out of leather. Well, because I don't do a lot of hand sewing and because I am clumsy, I still poke myself with needles and pins all the time. I keep a box of Kleenex close by and also a package of Band-Aids, because I think almost every day I poke myself and blood starts to drip out. So a really good tip is keep bandages close by. Now this little tool right here, I forget what it's called. I did see it on a website. They called it a stiletto, but this one is made by Quick Clip, and it's spelled with a K, K-W-I-K, and clip is K-L-I-P. And this is a tool that quilters often use. When you go to pin all your layers of your fabric together, you use straight pins, or you do a basting stitch to hold it all through. You use a great big long needle and you do giant basting stitches. Well, I don't do that anymore. But when I did, I had this little tool, because when you went to push the pin, and these are used for quilting, they're curved. I don't really recommend these because I found just a regular straight one worked the same. But this helps you. You push the pin over the top and it helps you to close up your pin faster, and it saves your fingertips. Now I can't really demonstrate it right now because it's again a two-handed job, but for those of you who are maybe getting some arthritis, it might help you when you do your pinning of your quilt layers. This here is my tabletop embroidery stand, and I use this to do my cross stitch. This is my preferred way because it's easy for me to do it one-handed. But sometimes I need to do another little quick smaller project because this one is tied up on a bigger project. So I'm going to show you how I do cross stitch, and you can apply the same method for doing embroidery on the little hoop. So here's my hoop. You have 2 rings, one that's underneath, one on top. Your 8 o'clock is in the middle. And normally you hold the hoop with one hand and you have the needle and thread in the other hand. Well, I can't hold this up. It'll fall right out of my hand. So I put my hand on top, push against the table. I have one side of the hoop out hanging over the table edge, so that when I push the needle down through, I can reach under, pull it out, and then I still have the space. I can reach up, go down, reach underneath, and keep repeating that process. So for those of you who have a hard time closing or even holding anything for very long in your hand, that's an option for you. I used to crochet blankets all the time, but then when I lost the use of my hand, I couldn't do it anymore. And then I've found other things that I can do one-handed. So this is a loom. Many of you know I've been trying to learn how to use a loom, and I'm doing pretty good. I made a bunch of little hats, but usually you hold the loom in one hand and you wrap your yarn around with the other hand. So again, what I do is I place it down on the table, push down on it to keep pressure, and then I begin wrapping the yarn around, and I just turn it whenever I need to. I just keep using the other hand because I can apply pressure, which causes it to turn. A few years ago, I saw this yarn, this is the brand name on it, that made it real easy to do one-handed crochet. And there is a website you can go to get patterns. It's called Yarn Spirations. I think that's what it says. Yeah, Yarn Spirations. And you can get free patterns on there on how to do it. Well, I'm going to show you just very quickly a general overview of how it's done. But I'm going to turn this around because I got it a little backwards. These are some scarves I've been working on, and almost got this one done. So on your yarn you have these loops that are already tied on, and this is the row that I had just finished, and now I want to insert these to the next row that was just done. So you're going to reach through this hole, you're going to reach through this hole, grab the loop here and pull it through. And sometimes I can use my thumb. And so then you go to the next one and pull it through. And I use my right hand to hold this down so I'm not chasing it all over the table. But here is another option for those of you who have difficulty using your hands. If you'll notice, I'm sitting really, really low in my chair. I have it as far down as possible because I have a lot of back and neck problems. I have a metal plate in my neck and other metal pieces throughout my back with wires and batteries and all kinds of stuff. I don't want to go into all those gory details. So in order to keep my back from getting sore very quickly, I sit as low as possible so I don't have to bend over so much. I'm now going to show you one of the most difficult and challenging things I have in my sewing room to do, and that is changing the needle on a sewing machine. I'm left-handed, and all sewing machines are set up for right-handed people. So the screw is over here, and it's hard for me to get at a good angle to unscrew it. I literally have to bend down. Well, then my hand is blocking. I can't see what I'm doing. So I have this screwdriver that helps to get it out, but I have to bend down, and then I can't see the little groove to insert the screwdriver in. This one just doesn't work for me. Anybody else it's going to work for, but not me. So I brought out the big guns. This is a giant screwdriver. So I insert, I have my hand here, and I insert and I lean down and look for the groove because I can now see the groove. And then I get the screwdriver in there. Well, it still takes two hands to move the screwdriver. So I have my right hand on the very end pushing against the screw, and my left hand is gripping and turning the screwdriver. Well, sometimes it slips out. So I put it back in, and it takes a while. Okay, let's try it again. And unscrew it. Well, it still fell out, but I was able to loosen it enough to where I can now reach. Now I can't see what I'm doing. I'm just guessing. So now to get the screw out, I lower my presser foot and pull the needle out. All right, now how do I put the needle back in? This is fun too. All right, so I remove my cap over my bobbin. Okay, and turn it upside down. Then, oops, excuse me, I lift up my presser foot. Then I place this underneath my presser foot and lower the presser foot. Then I take my needle and make sure that the flat side is to the back and insert it up in there. I use my my fingernail on my right hand to keep it pushed up, or to help push it all the way up. Then I grip it with my left, and with my right hand, if I put enough pressure on the wheel over here, I can lower it ever so slowly until it touches that little cap, because I don't want to bend the point on it. Then I take my handy dandy screwdriver. Well, first I tighten it as much as I can with my left hand, as much as I can. When I get it to where I can't twist it anymore, I use this, place it back in there, push against it, and tighten it back up. And there you go. I really have a hard time seeing the hole on the needle, as many of you do. I use tweezers, pick up the end of the thread, because it's easier to get it in and insert it through the hole, put my finger back there, and then grab the end of the thread, pull it out. Then I put my finger over here like this to pull out the thread so it doesn't get tangled around the needle. Maybe some of you have hand issues, or you just have some great little tips and tricks that you can share with everybody. So if you have a special way of doing something that's not quite the normal way, remember, there's no rules in sewing, only suggestions. So make sure you leave a comment below giving little tips on what you do. If you're interested in other tips of the week, those links are listed below your YouTube screen in the description section. So just scroll down to that section, click on the down arrow or show more. It'll expand open and you'll see the links appearing down there. Now while you're down there, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and check out my Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and happy sewing. If you like the Sewing Room channel, one of the best ways to show your support is to subscribe by clicking on that red subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. And make sure you click on the bell so you receive notifications for all my new videos. I'm Cheryl. This is Manny. See you next time.